Hi, Common Core Scholars. In this video, you will get a brief demonstration of how to post in discussion, tips for writing your first post, and what to do after you make your first post. Now, if you'd like to pause this video to pull up our classroom so you can follow along, or if you want to grab note-taking supplies, go right ahead. Press pause and then press play again when you're ready. All right, great. Now that you're ready, let's go ahead and navigate to the week's link. Oops. In the week's link, you'll know when we get down to week 1, you'll notice that all of the items you need to complete for the week are housed in that link. Let's go ahead and click on week 1 icebreaker. Here you're going to notice that it pulls up our week 1 discussion forum. Now, how to post your first post. You're going to want to hit create thread. In here, you're going to notice that it pulls up the discussion prompts or the questions that you're asked to answer in full for a grade this week. This week is all about introducing yourself. So it's a very fun discussion this week. Now, logistically, you want to make sure that when you're making your post, you fill out all of the blank boxes. So make sure that you include a subject that's relevant to the prompt's topic. Make sure that you insert your content here. Do not attach your discussion as a Word file, simply because it's difficult for others to see, and we often have to download the files, and a lot of times students who post their discussion forums in a Word file format don't get as many replies because, again, it requires the other person to download a file. So anyways, you'll enter in the message for your discussion prompt or your discussion post. Make sure that the font choices you use are professional looking, such as Arial or Times New Roman. Those two fonts are great choices that we often see in the workplace, but they are also accepted in APA formatting, which is something that you'll learn more about later on in this class. Now, logistically, after you have your post made, you'll then hit submit, and that's all you have to do. To ensure that your post was indeed published to the discussion forum, you'll notice that it will pop up here in the list, and you can double check that the status of your post says published. If it says draft, that means only you can see it, and you'll have to go back into your post and publish it. Okay, so we went over the logistics and steps of how to make your first post. Let's pull the discussion prompt back up so that we can go over some writing tips for a good introduction post. Now, a couple things that I want to share with you. Writing an introduction post for the first time, especially when you don't know anybody in class yet, you could be excited, or you could be like, okay, where do I start? I don't want to say too little, don't want to say too much. What do I do? No worries. The first thing that you want to look to is the fact that you have 3 discussion questions that you need to answer. This week specifically is all about introducing yourself to others, both personally and professionally, and then talking about the different skills that we're going to be learning in class and which ones you feel are the ones you want to focus on most and why. Okay, so to make a good introduction post, first tip, make sure to answer all of the discussion prompts in full. Okay, if your manager sends you a to-do list of 4 things and you only do 2 of them, well, you didn't do the job. So same thing here. In any discussion forum, you want to make sure you read all of the discussion prompts and answer each of them. The second tip, when you're answering each of the discussion prompts, don't be afraid to share a combination of personal and professional information. Ultimately, our goal is professionalism, but we're allowed to personalize our professional posts. So, for example, when you're thinking about the skills that you want to study, you might think of a time at work or at home where you are reminded of some of these skills here. Talk about that example and use that example as a way to share with your classmates and with me, your instructor, why you feel you're strong in certain skills, but maybe you want to work on other skills. Don't be afraid to share personal or professional experiences that help you communicate, your different ideas. That'll be beneficial to you this week, but in future posts as well. Then lastly, my third tip for making a good introduction post is just to pay attention for typos and the word count. Check for typos, check for text message language such as the infamous lowercase I. When we're texting, it's easy to type things like that. We don't want to see that in a professional form because, again, we're practicing professional communication skills. Also make sure that your discussion form is 150 words. You'll notice here you can copy and paste and go to a general word counter. I just Googled word counter and you can paste it in here and it will tell you. Also, if you have the most updated version of Blackboard, which you should, you'll notice that down here it tells you how many words you have. We are always looking for 150 words or more. All right, so those are some tips on how to really make sure that your content is quality. Now, what do you do after you make your first post? Well, a couple of things. Things that you'll be graded on would include coming back to the discussion to make 3 peer replies every week. You can certainly make more, but in order to earn the most possible points, you have to make 3 peer replies each week, and you want to do that over 3 days. So as you see more posts being made, make sure that you reply to at least 3 of them. Make sure that you try to spread them out over 3 days in a week. The other thing, you're not graded on it, but a best practice and something that you might enjoy is checking the unread replies to me column. So say I made a post here and I came into discussion and I saw the number 2 here. That would mean that 2 people replied directly to me, and so I would go in and make sure that I responded to them. So again, those are some things you can do after you make your initial post. Check back for your peer replies and then reply to 3 people over the course of 3 days. All right, folks. This video was a little bit longer, but I feel that it is valuable because discussion form is worth 25% of your grade overall when you add it up at the end of the course. So really hone in on the discussion participation and on the content that you write and your peer replies. Really enjoy the discussion form this week and in future weeks. If you have any questions, let me know, but otherwise keep moving forward.